Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, how are we getting on? Welcome back to a brand new camp build, and today we are doing our first shelter build in quite some time, heading down to the mine shaft. And this one's a little bit outside my usual wheelhouse, but I like it a lot, so let's take a look. Okay, so this is the larger of the two entrances to the mine shaft, this big tower here in the centre. If you want to take a look at the camp that I've built around this, then there's a video up already, so I'll link that one for you if you want to check it out. Very much one of my favourites in a while, I like this a lot. So let's jump inside, shall we? So here we go, downstairs. Long entrance into this one, and it's an interesting space. I've not been the biggest fan of the vault ones, but this one I do like. It was quite the headache, though, figuring this out. I tried a few different ideas out, and in the end I settled on this one that is pretty cool. Definitely something I haven't done in the past, so nice to break outside of the usual style of building, which is fun. So I've seen a few modern style builds both on the interwebs and in and around the game before, so I thought I'd have a crack at my own, just blending concepts from loads of different places. And I saw a shelter build that I put in a Through the Keyhole video a few weeks ago that had a kind of Oasis vibe to it, so I wanted to bring that in as well. So that's what we're going with here. My sort of headcanon for this is some wealthy individual who wasn't in the Vault program decided to build himself a nice Roman-esque house down in this particular abandoned mine shaft and retreated down here after the bombs, and for some reason is not here anymore. So that's my idea. But yeah, I started out with the sort of pond at the back and then expanded out from there, and we'll see that in a minute. But really happy with how this came out. Enjoyed the kind of colonnade type front. Kind of wish I'd had the opportunity to use the classical columns instead of the metal pillars, but they would have looked a little less modern, but it could have worked. But I also had absolutely no build budget left by the time I was done with this one, so literally not so much as a scratch could be squeezed in here on top of this. So this is the way it is. A couple of small sacrifices had to be made, but you know, I'm pretty happy with it. It looks cool. So definitely a mix of ideas. The main wall pieces here are the New Brotherhood stuff from the current season, and pretty happy with how those look. I've double-sided everything here, so it's the usual trick with putting foundations on either side of the wall and then just doubling up doors and swapping them out, just to make sure I could have wallpaper on both sides to make it look a little bit more modern and crisp, which is cool. A big open space on this side that I didn't know what to do with, and just as well in a sense, because as I say, I'm out of budget. But I thought we'll drop this big copper fountain in, because I don't use it very often, if at all, and it's a rare occasion it works. So loads of trees to keep that sort of underground Oasis grotto type vibe going. And a few plants, bits and pieces as well. Use the brambles to try and sort of give it a very alive sort of feeling, like lots of plants down here, but also to try and fill up the space a bit as well. Tuck this crafting area on the side. I've tried to avoid making it too over the top. I do want to try and use this place as and when I can. I haven't actually got a cooking station down here, but everything else is here. But I also didn't want this crafting station to be sort of overpowering to the rest of the build. So that's basically what I've done here, is trying to keep it a little more muted in colour and style. And I think it's worked quite well. It looks nice on the side here. We'll loop back around to the front and make our way inside in a moment. So I really like using that sort of double-stacked glass room on the front there, just to add a little bit more interest, a bit of style. Tucked a couple of statues in there. I'd like a few more of these tall statues that are kind of classical style would be cool, but I don't use them very often at the same time, so I made use of the same one over a few times, but it does look quite cool. Nice little colonnade entrance, marble flooring down here, goes well with the white brick texture on the walls. Nice little seating area out front. I do like the look of this place. Nice little place to hang out, very serene and relaxed, which is cool. Bit of a different vibe to my usual stuff. I usually go very scrappy, and I quite like doing something different here. Nothing particularly outside of the ordinary in the techniques we use here. It's a relatively simple build. So with that wall, with the door in it there, the doorway, unfortunately the wallpapers for some reason have a habit of disappearing lately, and there is another sort of white brick one on there, but as I say, unfortunately right now it's not present, so bit unfortunate, but what can we do? So heading inside, we've got the main open plan living space. I quite like how this came out. I was struggling a bit on the decoration in here, so I wanted it to seem relatively modern, but at the same time I wanted more stuff in here than I've got because unfortunately I ran out of room, and certain things I would have liked to have put in, particularly here in the kitchen, are not available in shelters, so what can you do? We've got kind of the type of kitchen I would like to have in some ways. Nice island in the centre there, and decent open cooker in the middle as well. Just using the wooden Wild West bar pieces there from a particular vendor pack from the Atomic Shop. These are just doubled up and they look quite nice together. Obviously being in shelters, we're able to float things in the air, so much easier to put those upper shelves on as well. Can move around both sides of that central island. The other side, unfortunately, is a bit difficult to get through when you're walking. If you're going at full run, then it's no problem, but for some reason when you're walking you get stuck on things a lot more. A couple of little stools there along the front of it to make a breakfast bar type vibe, which I quite like. Limited displays that would actually work in here, and even less stuff to actually put on the displays, unfortunately, in my stash. So I had to improvise a bit there, but it gives it a little bit of interest. Let's pass on through to the stairwell. So I've tucked some of the new bits and pieces under there, the washer dryer set, and a couple of other bits and pieces just to fill that space up with. This is one of the new staircases from the current season as well. There is a style of texture that would go slightly better, I think, in some ways with this sort of wallpaper and the floors. Look at the statue there. Rather than this log cabin one, but unfortunately that has a weird kind of railing around the upper edge of it, the other set of stairs. So I didn't really like that, so I kind of had to make do with this one, which is not perfect, but it'll do. Got a few busts up here. The classical columns are a bit awkward to place in close to a wall, so unfortunately I went with the tables instead, but it works. There's the back of the other statue room. These little kind of white spring spindly tables work well for putting those busts on. Quite a nice little way of decorating the stairwell. Into the bedroom. So very little light actually needed up here because there's a weird spot of light that illuminates the shelter in general that is about the top of the wall here, sort of to our left. So it's not ideal. That kind of puts a weird light in a few places, but it also means I didn't need many lights up here, so take advantage of it, I guess. Limited on the furniture, so again I was running out of space and the budget, and stuff that would actually work in this design was also a bit limited as well, but it works okay. Again, simple little bathroom tucked up here. I couldn't put a sink in because once again it's something we didn't have access to in the shelter. And we also don't have a clean bath yet, which we definitely need. Bethesda, hint hint, wink wink, nudge nudge, etc. So I tucked a couple of display cases on here just to sort of fill up this space without using too much of the budget as well. We'll head outside to the top of the little roof around the front and get our little balcony area on the go. Again, just somewhere we can sit. Nice little view downstairs there. Trying to mix things up a little bit by opening that up a bit. I would probably put one of the wire mesh floors on there, but in the end I wasn't able to fit it in. Again, a little seating area on the top here. Nice view out over the front garden type deal here. Really like the fact all this is contained in a cave as well. It kind of doesn't make sense, but that's kind of why it works, if that makes any sense at all. I really like the sort of, like it's like an Oasis kind of vibe, only underground rather than in the desert. Those glass roofs on the top, by the way, are just free placed in. They're not snapped or anything like that. They're just placed on the top of the flat roof at the top to overhang a little bit, which is an idea I borrowed from somewhere, but the person who did something similar to that, their name escapes me, so I do regret that, but yeah, not a completely original idea on my part. But I like the way I've gone about doing this one. The roofs, by the way, are from the log cabin set because they're nice pale wood rather than the usual dark one. It fits the vibe of this build a little bit better. Let's make our way downstairs and have a little look through the living room once again before we head out the back. Yeah, I do like it here. I've just remembered I didn't put a kitty in here. Shocking failure on my part there. Have to do something about that. There we go, a little area out the back. This is where I actually started the build, and just started out by decorating this pond, and really where the Oasis idea is focused. So I put loads and loads of plants around here. There's a little bit of blue light in this corner already, so I decided to accent that a little bit. So there's some cycling lights tucked in the bushes at the back there, loads of brambles on the bottom. Added a load of trees just to give it a bit of life. The plants from the cranberry bog there obviously had just a little splash of colour as well, which is nice. A few of those rocks stacked up in the middle with the statue in the middle just gives it that nice little centre point to draw your eye to, which is cool. Harambe's hanging out in the corner as well. And yeah, I like the kind of peaceful zenness of this little garden out the back here. It's nice. Very rare to get a camp where you can pull off a water feature. And there's some spots in the main game where you can, outside of shelters, but it's nice to take a little chill and just sort of relax out here. I like it a lot. Very calm little spot. There's little water effects as well. So happy with this, but it's eaten up probably a third of the budget just decorating that little pond, so no wonder there wasn't so much room to build out front. But I started off with the foundations here and then just decided to attach the house onto the front of it, as I really wasn't sure what to put in front of it originally. So I had a few sort of general ideas. I was thinking maybe something mole miner themed, but we don't really have anything that works for that. I was thinking maybe an abandoned vault, but that didn't work out very well either. Kind of wish I'd put a second window on there actually, because it's kind of recessed to it, which is not ideal, but it still would have been a bit awkward to do. But yeah, I really like how this came out. Nice little modern house in a grove hidden away underground for some rich individual and their family to try and survive the apocalypse. Clearly they did not, but the Vault Dweller obviously has come along, discovered the place, and made it their own a little bit. Or just taken over and done some pruning, perhaps. Yeah, I really like this casual little relaxed, calming vibe to the camp, and much cleaner and tidier than my normal builds are. I normally get very scrappy, so it was nice to go outside of that usual style and do something a bit different, and use some of the larger pieces that I don't get the opportunity to use a lot as well, which is always cool. So yeah, different, but I think very much still has my fingerprints all over it, so I do like this one a lot. But there we go, a nice little tour of my mineshaft shelter build, which I very much hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider dropping subs and likes. It is very, very much appreciated. Social media links, merch store and channel memberships, as always, down below the video as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel that way, massive thank you to everybody who's done that. It hugely helps out. I very, very much appreciate it. And if you get a chance to join us for live streams, those will be resuming next week with Fallout 76, of course, and a little Mass Effect 2 as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.